Huch, ganz anderes Studio. Man ist gar nicht zu Hause bei sich, sondern man ist hier bei Fantasy Flight Games. Und ich bin nicht alleine hier, sondern ich habe einen der Hauptdesigner von Z5 mit mir dabei. Und wir spielen die Spotlight Decks. Welcome. Please introduce yourself to the audience, who you are. Don't worry, you will be subtitled in German.
Oh, fantastic.
No need to speak German.
Hi, my name is Joe O'Neill. I was the lead designer of Legends of the Force, along with John Leo. But yeah, I built these Spotlight decks, and I'm super excited to play them today with you, Niels.
Nice. So this time, no proxies, the original cards. I play Darth Maul again because I am not smart enough to play Qui-Gon Jinn. I wish you good luck to pull the right cards after the first hand to pull Qui-Gon's ability. And we just play, and I ask a couple of questions.
That sounds good.
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm smart enough to play Qui-Gon either.
Probably. You should. Did you design him, or is Qui-Gon a teamwork effort?
Qui-Gon was me. He used to have a different ability that was not really working, so we were trying to find something that felt very clever and like kind of tricksy and cunning. And this fell into place, and it worked really, really well.
Nice.
It's a really exciting ability, and it makes you dream, like what cards can I play together to make it work at its best.
How did you decide that Qui-Gon and Darth Maul will be the two characters in the Spotlight decks?
Yeah, so, well, one is I wasn't the original lead of Legends of the Force, so the simple answer is that Aaron Haltom, who is now on Marvel Champions, was the one who chose these particular ones. But I know part of his reasoning is we wanted characters that felt like a good match against each other from an iconic moment in Star Wars, and Qui-Gon Jinn had not been in the game yet, and we really wanted to give him something splashy for his first appearance. So we picked Qui-Gon, and then Darth Maul felt like the perfect counter to that.
So your general idea for Spotlight or starter decks is that must fit into the lore.
Sometimes, yeah. I'm not going to say that forever, but in this particular case, it felt like such a perfect matchup that we wanted to make that happen.
Nice. Okay, then let's start at least with round one. I have a lot of questions here, like a real journalist. But let's see.
I will keep this.
Me too. One of the hardest things to learn is you have to get rid of good cards.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want.
And then sometimes later you're like, if I kept that one card, I could have won.
It's always like that. It's always the hand or the draw.
Yeah.
That's responsible for losing. Okay, we did not choose the initiative, right?
No, not yet.
1 or 3?
3. Oh,
That's
counts.
a 1. Okay, I will take the initiative. Right. Okay, we start in the ground with the Acolyte of Beyond for 2. It's a 2/3 with an on attack and 1 defeated trigger that the Force is with me.
Yes. All right. I am going to pay 2 for a Youngling Padawan, which just instantly gives me the Force.
Nice. Then I will claim the initiative.
All yours. Pass.
So.
I think I want that for later. Let's do that.
Okay. So now we have the full deck of cards here. It's as opposed to the starter decks from the previous sets. In this, Spotlight decks are older cards. How do you decide from which sets you pull, how many of the different cards are in there? For example, I only have 1 rare Dooku in here, and I could use more.
Yes. Part of that is we wanted the booster packs and the cards that you've pulled in your collection from before to still feel a little bit more special. And if this contained all of the Dooku's immediately, that kind of takes away some of that specialness. So with the rare cards, we decided to keep it just one of copy for each of those. The special rarity cards, you get 3 ofs because this is the primary spot where you can get them.
Yes.
And then uncommons is a similar line. You get 2 copies of uncommons and 3 copies of rares.
Okay. But we will get the special ones in weekly play kits as well, right?
I'm actually not sure because that is a little bit. It's changed with Jump to Lightspeed, and I can't remember where we landed. I know you can get these special rarities in the booster packs as Hollow or
With
Hyperspace.
different treatments. Okay. So I think I should attack first because that's what I do, and the force is with me.
It is initiative
2 to
matters.
base.
Let's get the 2 on there. All right. I'm gonna pay 2 for R2D2.
Yes.
And I'm going to discard. I'm going to discard the child Anakin to draw a new card.
Okay. I will play a character from the Jedi video games, Marin.
Good.
For 3, a
card.
2, 5.
I don't want that sticking around, so I'm gonna hit Marin for 2.
Yes. But then I will use my force token and to deal 1 damage here and 1 damage to R2, please.
All right, goodbye, youngling. There we go.
Okay.
And I will take the initiative, please.
Yes, of course. Then I will pass.
All right.
Okay, that was a rather quick decision. How do you decide to which cards are going in the spotlight deck? Is it we have this ability and we want to build around that? Like, for example, as we had in the last set with the Boba leader in the spotlight decks, we have a lot of units with indirect damage or otherwise, or you probably have a lot of with when played abilities?
Yep, exactly. So it's a mix of what cards would be strong, what cards show off this set's new mechanics, and also as the abilities changed during the design process, we will change around the decks to make sure that they still have synergy and they still play well. So throughout design, the decks changed up a little bit, especially, like I said, Qui-Gon didn't used to have this ability, and then when he did have this ability, we leaned really hard into the when playeds.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Did, for example, the Obi-Wan's Easter Sprite has the ability to double a when played ability.
Yes.
The opposite of Thrawn, for
Yeah.
example. Did you realize that can you give the Curious Flock 12 XP tokens if you have enough resources? Did
Yes.
that happen in playtesting so far?
It did. Not the full 12, but someone did get beyond the original 6.
Nice.
That was one of the most favorite cards when showing these spotlight decks to new players. That was another goal of mine, is that these could be picked up by a more experienced player and have a decent time playing at like a locals, a little bit more refined than the starter decks, which are meant more exclusively for new players.
Yes.
I wanted this to be able to do both, and people loved using Curious Flock and just making them huge.
Okay, then you have the initiative.
I do. Let's... I have choices here. I'm going to pay 1 for Impossible Escape, use my Force token, and exhaust Marin. And then I get to draw a card.
Okay. I will attack your base again.
R2. Ooh, you have force. Let's go 2 to the base.
Yes.
I have to be aware of that maul damage. I can't leave my units with 1 HP.
I don't really care because I play Talzin's Assassin.
Ooh.
Use the force and give the R2 -3/-3.
That is a good card. All right.
Sure if that was too early, but we'll see.
I think you did that at the right time. That changed what I was going to do, so I'm just going to claim the initiative.
Nice, and I'll pass.
All right. All right.
Are there any tricks in these decks that you think are easily overlooked?
In Qui-Gon, a lot, yes.
Yes.
It's so tricksy and the order matters. Like sometimes you have to keep the cheap cards in your hand instead of playing them so that you can bounce Qui-Gon and then play the cheap card for free later. There's a lot of fun things you can do with Kelleran Beck, where you can search for something like Maz Kanata, immediately attack with your Qui-Gon leader unit, and then you can return Kelleran Beck to your hand, all in a single action. So Qui-Gon gets a lot of sneaky action compression in there, which is often surprising to players.
Yes, especially the action compression. That's really important in this game.
Yes.
Okay, that's looking quite good for me
It
there.
is. All right. So I'm going to play a Jedi Sentinel. I don't have the Force right now, so she does not have Sentinel.
That's unfortunate for you. I think I need to make my Marin stronger and give her the Fawn lightsaber because she is not a vehicle. She can have that attached. Still waiting to play a Purgle. And that's my action for this phase.
I'm going to take the initiative.
Then this will be 5 to base.
All right, and 1 to the Sentinel.
Yes. Then
So
it's
that puts me
4,
at 9.
4 more to base.
That puts me at 13.
And 2 more.
Puts me at 15. So
Oh,
that's just-
right. We do this. And I'll give 1 damage to her and 1 to you. Then I attack, and then I get my Force token back, and I can also play
Oh,
the
no.
structure. What was that?
All right, that was a crazy turn.
I pass.
All right.
So a lot of my questions that I have here you already answered in my other questions. So how does playtesting work for these kind of decks? Because you said his ability changed. You had to change a lot. Is it just we need to try out these 2 new cards in this deck? Who wants to come over and play? Or how does this playtesting work for these kind of decks?
Yeah, so a lot of it is just repetition, trying different targets. Like new players, as well as the most experienced players like us, the developers, as well as medium kind of level players. It's important that it kind of hits those targets for everyone. A big part of making sure it shows off the set's mechanics is we knew that both these decks needed to use the Force a lot, but using it in different ways. Like the Qui-Gon deck, I think you might use the Force like once or twice a game using this front side. The Maul, you might be using it every single turn. And both of those are different styles of using the Force, and you'll see that in different constructed decks that come out, I'm sure. But both of which do sometimes make it worth running a force base. So,
Okay.
all right. I get to start. I'm going to pay 6 for a Depibilaba, ambush into Marin. I'll take 5 damage back and gain the force, which means this is now a Sentinel.
I have 6 resources, so she is a Sentinel. 2 damage left, so the Acolyte of Beyond will attack her.
All right. I'll flip Qui-Gon himself.
Then I will play Savage for 6, and I use my Force. So I don't have to get 9 damage to my base.
Yes. Qui-Gon is going to take out Talzin's Assassin. 3 damage back. And I think I'm going to leave Depibilaba right there. Actually, no. I've learned my lesson. I want her to have health. I want cards in hand. I'm going to return her.
Okay, I'll do 3 to base.
Yes. You have a Maul flip this turn, but no ready resources.
Yes.
So I'm going to claim.
I flip him. I attack Qui-Gon.
Yep. So you take 4 back.
I get the Force, and I need to do...
You have to do it, even though I have no units. But it is on attack, actually. So you can choose one of those damage to go on my Qui-Gon.
Okay, then it's like this.
Perfect.
Okay, then I'll pass.
All right. All right. I think you got this game. But I want to show off something fun.
Looked way better before. Both of these leaders use the Force differently. Is that factored in how you generate the Force with these decks?
Yeah, so the Maul deck is a lot more about like raw damage and aggression. And I think that's shown in like you're going to be gaining the Force a lot by attacking. And you're going to be gaining the Force with cards like Drain Essence that deal damage on top. So Drain Essence, if you squint, kind of says 3 damage to a unit because it's 2 damage on the card, use the Force with Maul, and it's another damage. It's just damage, damage, damage. The Qui-Gon deck uses cards like Youngling Padawan to gain the Force a lot, which is just more passive, sitting back, waiting. A lot of ambushers will gain Qui-Gon the Force that kind of come out of nowhere and surprise, and then you can repeat, rinse and repeat.
Okay.
So it does come through in the flavor a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's try this. Sneak attack.
Yes.
I'm going to pay 6 total for a ready Kellerin Beck. Let's search the top 7 cards of my deck.
It's a sneak attack Jar Jar, you could say.
I wish. All right. You have lethal on my base. So, because we're doing this for the camera and I want to have some fun, two different options right now. I could use Maz Kanata and immediately attack with Kellerin Beck for 9 damage. But I think because I'm on defense, I have to play this Obi-Wan, who is a Sentinel now.
I have to answer that with my favorite character in all of Star Wars, Chirrut Imbe, to have a Sentinel
your
as
own
well.
Sentinel.
Kind of feels weird to have Chirrut in a Maul deck.
Yes, I do agree with that. And that's a good point because some of this is very flavor straightforward. Like that deck has a lot of Sith and a lot of Knight, which makes perfect sense with Maul. Chirrut, no connection.
Yep.
But gameplay-wise, he helped that deck a lot because something we noticed during playtesting is this deck has a lot of Sentinels. The Obi-Wan, the Jedi Sentinel, and the other deck felt like it was lacking a little bit, and Chirrut was a good way to provide Sentinel as well as showing off a different way of using the Force.
Which is, in this case, your attacker, when you get attacked, you may use your force, and the attacker gets a -2, -0 for this attack.
Yes.
So I need to attack Obi-Wan.
Yes. So I think I have to take out Chirrut.
Yeah.
You can use the Force if you want, but I will still have enough power to defeat.
Probably not then.
Yeah. Save that token.
But Savage will... No. Maul will attack Obi-Wan, will do enough damage,
Yep.
and both of the triggers will go to them.
Yes. All right. So now I'm going to use Qui-Gon, return Kelleran back to my hand to play Depa Billaba, ambush into Savage, and we both are defeated. Do you want to use the Force, or do you want to?
Yes,
take
I do.
9 damage?
I do. Then I'll do 3 damage to base.
Yes. All right. So that puts me at 23. Let's make this math a little easier. All right, I've cleared the board, which is nice, but probably not enough. I'm going to play a Refugee of the Path. Just a simple 1-drop, but it can gain me the Force on attack. So
Okay,
that's
so
valuable.
I will drain them of their essence.
Yes.
2 damage, and I gain the Force.
All right. But your Maul is exhausted, so you can't hit him yet.
Yep.
I'm going to take that initiative.
And I pass.
So yeah, I was on the back foot for a long time. I still think I am, but it's kind of nice to see that those Qui-Gon plays can like all of a sudden clear the board in one big action.
Yep. Especially when you're at the big units, like a 7, a 6
Yeah.
cost. Then it makes impact on the board.
Yes. So I think your spaceship's going to win you the game. Not quite this turn, but... All right. I'm going to 0 to base,
Yes.
gain the Force.
I'll play Darth Tyrannus for 4.
Hard.
I'll play him.
I have
I
0 power, so it doesn't
I
matter which order.
ambush directly,
Yep.
and then I'll shield them.
All right.
Oh, no, it doesn't even use the Force. It's
Nope.
just if you have it.
And yeah, that's an interesting point that it doesn't use the Force. You just have to have the Force. One reason for that was you're gaining the Force on attack usually anyway. So it felt kind of redundant to say use the Force and immediately gain the Force back.
Yep.
But also it's fun. You can gain the Force once in a deck with a card like Drain Essence and then just have it ready for Tyrannus.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Late in the game, but I'm starting my Qui-Gon loops. Here's Kelleran back. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. For 3 or less. Or it costs 3 less, so I can play a 4-cost unit. And I think I will. Here's a Jedi Sentinel.
And he has Sentinel now.
Yes.
I don't care. I hit your base for 3.
Yes. I have to address that. I only have 2 damage left on my base. You have 4 ready resources. I think I claim and hope that I get a card that can help me out.
Okay, I'll do this. And because you have 2 units, both of them will get hit by 1. the
All right.
The
let's
last-
hope I draw.
the last questions I have here are perfectly for the end of the game, so as if it was planned.
All right.
Now we are in an area of resources where I'm not really comfortable. Games should be ending at around 7 resources for me.
You like to play the more aggressive decks.
Yes.
All right. Spoiler, your strike ship, I can't do anything about it. But I'm going to play one of my favorite cards in this whole set. Let's get Luminous Beings in here. So Luminous Beings acts a lot like Unity of Purpose from Jump to Lightspeed, but it's not double green, which is significant. So I can put 2 force units on the bottom of my deck. I can put up to 3. And then both of these will get +4/+4. I don't want to dig out that many tokens, so I'm just going to flip them upside down.
Okay.
So I now have a 13 and a 9 power unit right there.
Wild.
Would you like to end the game with strike?
Yes, I do. GG.
Good game.
So, what is the one thing you hope players feel when they play either one of these Spotlight decks? I think we should split this question into what do you hope new players will feel and what do players who like to look at the meta
Yes.
play. So,
For new players, I would like them to play Darth Maul and feel like, whoa, I'm doing so much damage. Just that feeling of like power. And Qui-Gon, I would like them to feel clever. When you realize that like, oh, I can return this and then play that, and it's really impactful. It feels really, really good. Qui-Gon is one of the harder leaders to use, so we wanted to make sure that there's a tips and tricks card that gives a little bit of advice about how to play the deck included in here.
that's on the bottom of the Force token, right?
Yes, so you can see that right there.
Nice.
Yeah. And Darth Maul has one too, of course, on
Let's
the back of
see
his
here.
Force token. Yep.
Did not know that.
Yeah, no, it's just things we noticed were confusing players during development, or things that we noticed are like maybe not immediately obvious, but are really fun to do. We wanted to call out in here.
Nice.
As for more advanced players playing these decks, I would like them to kind of get a sense of the Force mechanic and then start dreaming about how to build their own decks. Maybe with the Qui-Gon, you really like the interaction with the Ahsoka from Jump to Lightspeed. So you take out a few cards and put in 2 more Ahsokas into this deck. You, with Darth Maul, notice like, oh, I can get the Force and use it a lot. And maybe you build a deck about pumping out that much damage all the time with Maul Leader, or someone else that maybe you want to use the Force a lot with. I kind of want those more advanced players to get a feel of the mechanic when playing these.
Okay. And the last question, I'll do that again and cut that out. The last question is, if this would be a trilogy of decks, who would be the third leader from the set you would pick?
Yeah, that's a good question. If I'm going off lore on the movies, I would have to pick Obi-Wan because he's also there in this scene and is one of my favorite characters. If I was going to go by like a light or a villainy, heroism, and maybe a neutral, that becomes a lot more interesting of a question. And I will say there's unrevealed cards that kind of feel like they fit that bill a little bit more, so I'm gonna stay quiet on that one. Obi-Wan will be my answer for the third one here.
Okay, then that's it for the Spotlight decks. Thank you very much. And I will update in the comments what the new cards are that are teased here.
Awesome.